Good morning. I wanted to make certain that you knew what was your homework for this weekend. So we're going to primarily take care of our Friday lab with details, and then we're going to go through our science notebook and try and get it up to date. So if you would, follow along with me and stop the video whenever you need. The first thing that you're going to need to do is add onto page 23 your green activity for our ethanol burning sheet. I'll show you what all this is, but I'd like to point out a couple of important details. During the instructions, it said that the suggestion was made for you to make certain that you check things off along the way. So I kind of anticipate that you did that as you were moving through. Part B was an observation set where you had to draw out your lab setup and then record any observations you made. Many teams, while they were burning or catching their burning ethanol and the materials that may have been released from the ethanol, noticed that there was condensation on the container, noticed that there was an awful lot of heat on the container, they saw a mass change, and they saw a color change in the BTB. So that all should be represented here graphically with some kind of simple image and then some labels and terms. Then during that lab, we made certain that we filled out these details. It's really important that you filled them out properly. I know that I made a mistake on mine, so I had to do a little quick switch or cross off. However, we want to make certain it's as clear as possible. And then for the out or the debrief after your lab, we needed to do questions D1 and D2, but before you do that, you needed to see a full set of data, which means you needed to see other tables worth of data. The other data is here. I would suggest that you go ahead and make sure you've got a nice copy of this on your page 20. Oops, sorry. So this is actually still part of your page 23. So this will be 23 and this is our lab. So this is still a piece of 23. It's just on the underside. And you'll want to make certain that you've got these details. I would go ahead and hit pause now and copy this down into your booklet. Make certain that you do put your reflections, your thinking about this data, and compare it to your team's personal data. Okay, going back, once you've got this completed, then you're going to go over here and complete your answers for D1 and D2. Now, I'm going to go back all the way to the beginning. I'm not going to show you the cover page or the table of contents because I would like very much for you to try and get your booklet organized really well, and then the table of contents will be the last image that I show. So on page 13, we've got our suffixes and root words, and I've gone through and highlighted the groups of 10. We've only officially been assigned the first 3 groups, so what is blue, orange, and green on this image, but I went ahead and I highlighted the next 2 sets as well, just so I have them noted and I know what's coming. Next, on page 14, we're going to do a little bit of background together. So your page 14 can be blank, but know that this is coming. We'll talk about that on Tuesday when we get back. Page 15 is our reference for organizing data tables and graphs. That was just a flat tape down. Page 16, you can go ahead and put up a header here. We're going to do a little bit of reminder practice because we've got a quiz coming up middle to end of next week. Make certain that we don't forget about our parts of our scientific experiment. And then on page 17, we've got a sheet that we used as a reference document, but we actually wrote the data for our ant lab, the lab where we saw a video about the German scientists who were thinking that possibly ants were counting their steps. You had it filled out. You can go ahead and hit pause at any time to complete this if you did not already do it. I've cleaned up some of the language and made this as tight as possible, but this should be your page 17. I do want you to notice that I flipped marked my 17. That meant that the words that were underneath here got blocked off, so I just rewrote them. And then I'm actually going to write 17A, excuse me, and 17B, because there's a little bit more to this. So 17 is our reference page, and then we're actually going to keep a bit of a log for some other examples for our practicing our parts of an experiment. So we'll do a few of these later on in the week as well, but go ahead and set this page up. On the next page, which is page 18, it's just a simple blank, And then our title page for our official Unit 1 has got a little bit of additional information you're noticing. We were writing vocabulary words that the class was coming up with as we were taking notes and going through our laboratory. And this weekend I would like you to add a few definitions. You may take my definitions, or better still, go find your own and then just write simple little concepts along the way. So far, the words that we have on this page are scale, mass, matter, energy, atoms, and molecules. And some students wanted to add protons, neutrons, and electrons when we were talking about atoms. I've not completed the definition work for that, but I'll make certain that I've got these pieces labeled for my atoms, and then I'll include a nice definition for molecule as well. That's your page 19. Page 20 I'm going to come back to, but page 21 you are well informed on that one, as we completed that Thursday and Friday before we finished, or before we did our ethanol burning lab. I'd like to make certain that your page looks nice and strong and you've completed all the tasks. However, when we take notes, usually we'll have to reflect or apply them. So we took these notes and then we did our burning lab. So I'd like to go backwards and show you what this is expected on page 20. So page 20 has got an apply the notes to some concepts. You already answered 1A and 1B verbally in class, so this will be an easy one for you to write down and give me a quick answer. But 2A and 3A and B are also to be included. I do want you to notice up here in the corner it says that your answers are supposed to be a yes because or a no because. So make certain that you're explaining yourself a little bit. For 1A, we would say that the carbon atoms in a carbon dioxide molecule will still be carbon a million years from now because, so you would say yes, because atoms can't be created or destroyed unless there's some kind of a nuclear reaction. So atoms are constant. And then let's go on to the last little bit. We're going to have a blank page 22, and then we're going to do a flip mount for your green lab, and that's page 23. Again, I talked about the details that are expected on this page. I'll need you to make certain that this is nice and clean. Copy down your class data and give some reflections, and then finally go back and answer these two reflections or conclusions based on the class's data. Thank you.